Hi there. Today I'll be doing a product tour of the SQL Business Intelligence solution. This video will focus on various ways you can deploy data to users within your organization. Okay, let's get started. Here are the popular methods for deploying data with SQL Business Intelligence that I'll be covering today. First of all, starting off with SQL Web Interface. So it has a zero footprint web interface to simplify IT's deployment and give the users access to the data and predefined views directly via the web browser interface. And then also runtime prompts. So being able to use different queries in different ways, to be able to add prompts for users to be able to enter dates, customer information, numbers, and part numbers and stuff like that, and be able to query against that and get other kinds of queries. So it's really around using data smarter to make it easier to manage all the different views out there. And then I'll be getting into the Microsoft Excel plugin and how you can access the views into your data directly from Microsoft Excel. And then I'll be covering dashboards, so how you can deliver business data the way users want it in the amount that they want it as well into one dashboard. So we'll have some different options that I'll be showing there from that standpoint. So simplistic ones and more complex ones as well. And then last of all, I'll be covering scheduling automation. Getting data to automated delivery. Maybe it's via email, or we can use SQL scripts to run automation in groups or in batches to do multiple things. So we have a couple different ways we can do it that way here too. All right, let me get to the live demonstration here. Again, first of all, starting off with the SQL Web Interface. SQL Web Interface is accessed obviously via the web browser. You log in with your IBMI credentials. And we can use IBMI security. We also have SQL security if you need to get more granular with those security features. And we can go more in depth than that at a later time as well if you would like. But in this case here, being able to access stuff, and maybe it's from bookmarks. So if there's common things that people are using all the time when they log in, you can access them via bookmarks inside of here. So I can say, hey, I want to get to some of this information here, or these views, or a dashboard or something. I can get through it through this part. Or you can have, like in this case here, I might have some of my recent things inside of here. Or if I type a library name inside of here, you see I can get to that as well. So we have some different options there. Now, when accessing this information, the really nice thing about the SQL Web Interface is it gives you the capability to view that information, and it might be something that, in this case, has some kind of prompt that's built into it to be able to get to the data in this case. And we can do different things with the data to have it more finished look to it, or maybe it's data that someone wants to do something with, and that means like, hey, maybe I need to maybe create subtotals inside of here, and I want to be able to subtotal that information out inside of here. So there's different things in this case here, so I can do subtotals inside of here for the different ones. It might be, hey, I need to maybe get to some different information. So there is reprompting capability here. There is, saving the results. So if I want to be able to download them as, as a finished file, like a PDF or a text file, or even an Excel file to work with that data a little bit differently, we can do that here as well. So you do have the different options to be able to get to the, to be able to push out that data. And then we also have capabilities around graphing and charting. So if maybe I want to be able to see what the story of this data is in this case, this does give us the capability to be able to graph and chart information to say, hey, I want to be able to see some visuals and maybe see what the data story is in this case. So in the data story in this case, month by month kind of transaction kind of stuff inside of here, where it shows the ups and downs of the business inside of here. And you'll see here from the tabs, as I open that information, I can flip-flop back and forth inside of there. Or a lot of organizations, what they do, if they're using like a PowerPoint presentation, they might want to download that image as well. They might want to export that chart over here on the top right corner here. So they have that capability, or take a screenshot or something like that. So you do have the different capabilities there. And again, views could be pretty much any kind of view, right? So it could be like this one here, could be like a sales information, and then I might need to reorder or regroup information or do a drill down into it. I can see that information differently. So that's sort of nice there. So there's different ways to be able to see some of this stuff. And then you can also do like customer lists and stuff like that. But the nice thing is, data like this, it's live data that we're accessing through the browser. So you can work with that. So maybe it's a call list, or maybe they want to, maybe someone's doing, follow up on stuff. So you can do different things like that inside of here. But that's the SQL web interface from that standpoint. Now prompts, moving on to the prompt side of things, or runtime prompts, you sort of seen one already, but the capability to be able to have those different kinds of prompts to be able to streamline that capability, like top sales, kind of a thing. Maybe I want to see like do a query into a review into the data, and I want to see how some of these things are comparing or doing inside the business, right? So I can come in here and actually select here from a selection box or a prompt to be able to see some of those products and what the current sales are. And then I can do, go into the detail a little bit more too and drill down into it if I want to. So there's different things that you can do there from that standpoint. Or it could be, the capability to be able to see, an order or something like that, and come in here and say, hey, I want to see a customer. I want this customer, and I want to see all orders that are open with them, so I can actually view into some of that data. So this does give you that look into some of the data there in that case. We can even do like we call them plan drill downs or application drill downs. So where you might have the data, but instead of having someone select that information, you might want them to, or drive them to a certain kind of report and say maybe who else purchased this item, or what else did they purchase, right? So you can actually look at that information and drive them to another view. So you can actually sort of plan that process a little bit to give them that information and drill them down into that process. So you do have that capability there from that standpoint. Now the next feature or deployment method that I want to talk about is the Excel add-in. So you can obviously, like I was showing, you can download stuff from the SQL web interface and download it into the system, or download it to your system. But if you want to work directly inside of Excel, right? So I can come into Excel, and the nice thing about working directly inside of Excel, I can create different sheets and download different views into Excel and save it and refresh it later for real-time data. So in this case here, maybe I want to add a view into here, or add a sheet, or add a view into this. So first thing it's going to do, it's going to prompt me for my user ID and password. And it's going to authenticate me into the system to get to be able to do a selection of information, right? So I'm going to go into that Greg temp library. To select the object, so I'm going to do a browse, and I'm going to grab this AR one here, right? And then I'm going to pull that one back into here. So I can have a view that I build inside of here that gives me the capability, or download this view inside of here so that I can actually see that information in here. Now maybe I go to lunch and I come back and I go, geez, I want to see if anything changed, or I want to make sure I have the live data. I can hit the refresh button. The refresh button is going to refresh it. If it's a promptable view, it's going to prompt me and ask me what, if it's, what customer or what information that I want to do. But the nice thing about this, another nice thing about this is I can save this now. I could have a whole bunch of different views that I have down here. I can save this spreadsheet to my desktop, and then use this one, every single day. You can create a pivot table inside of here and refresh the data in a pivot table, but there's many different things that you can do there from that standpoint with the Excel add-in. Now going back to the web browser, dashboards, being able to give the data to users in a sometimes more meaningful way, more of a visual way in some cases, right? And sometimes it's not just visual, it's more data in one space, right? So in this case here, we can use dashboards and create dashboards to, live over the top of some of the views in those cases, right? To be able to say, hey, I want to see, daily sales. I want a dashboard that everyone can use. Or maybe I want to see like certain account, like I was talking about earlier, the story that the data is trying to tell, right? So you can sort of start to see some of that information here and the ups and downs and just different things inside the business. So these are just some examples of different kinds of dashboards that might show, different data matrices or metrics kind of stuff inside of here. It could be, KPI information. It could be information like this, like a lot of executive dashboards want to do comparison and like against accounts payable and accounts receivable. So you have different things like that. And then, things like this where you might need to have a nice little chart or graph and interact with the data differently inside of here. So there's different things to do, like little meters and gauges and sort of a mixture. A lot of organizations like, executives like to see, charts with the ups and downs and the curves and stuff of the business. Or it could be an up and down kind of a thing saying, hey, here's the data, here's the visual for that. So there's different things that you can do there from that standpoint to be able to do that. Now, for the last one here, the scheduling automation. Scheduling automation can happen, on obviously on an automated portion, right? To be able to automate that process. So with this capability here, we can actually schedule some of this process. So I'm going to log into my Viewpoint Designer. And then when I log in my Viewpoint Designer, there might be a certain library that has some certain views in it, or we'll use that one that we had before, right? So we'll use the AR one. So maybe I want to send this out every single morning to someone and then have that information processed, right? So we can actually use the email option inside of here, and then you can put an email address or a group email address or both, right? And then schedule that either using the IBM I Job Scheduler by default, or if you have our robot schedule product installed and are using that, or if you need a scheduler, we do have that for you as well. You can use that and schedule it with that process. So you can schedule it to say, hey, I need this every day or every month. And the nice thing, and talking about grouping things, right? Scripts. So SQL has the capability inside of there as one of the objects that SQL has is scripting capability. Scripting capability allows you to use IBM I commands and SQL commands and also use multiple views or multiple things inside of here to be able to send. So maybe I wanted to send 5 files every single end of month to someone or to a group. I don't have to set up 5 automation jobs. I could have a script that actually preconditions all that information and then sends that out with just one script that I schedule. So you could have a monthly script, you could have a weekly script, daily script, for different departments, different locations, brands, and stuff like that as well. So that gives you the capability there to be able to do the scheduling portion of the process. I just want to thank you for watching this product tour video. I hope you've learned some helpful information about how SQL Business Intelligence can be used to deploy data securely to your users within your organization. If you have any additional questions, feel free to reach out to our sales team, and we'll be happy to schedule a free consultation or a one-on-one live demonstration or a trial to address any of your questions. Thank you.